Welcome back. Once again, it is time for the golden age of DC Comics 365 days. No, Sully, it was last year's show. Read the show notes. What? Read the show notes, Pika. What do you mean? Oh, no. This year it's the Comics Coffee Table. That's right. Sorry, I was having a senior moment. It's my birthday. Happy birthday, Sully. That's right. Oh, man. I'm beginning to feel my age. Yeah. I turned 51 today. 51. That's right. Old man. Old man Sully is a little confused when he reads the... You whippersnapper, fix your shades there, your tea shades. People will know you're on some kind of substance if they see your eyes are bloodshot. Welcome back to the Comics Coffee Table, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern daily, and on Sundays, like today, we do new comics reviews. Yes, the best comics, some of the worst comics, too, that were printed and you spent money on, or didn't. I'm blessed and grateful to get a pirate chest. I call it my digital pirate chest, from a friend of mine who shares with me their digital copies every week. There were a lot of comics I read this week, and let me tell you all about them as well. Let me tell you all about all these new comics I read this week. And I went to my local comic book shop. Hello. What's in the bag? That's right. The ubiquitous brown paper flat bag that we get from our local comic book shop. Full of funny books. I got 6 different print publications, spending about $33 at the local comic book shop. That's roughly about $5 per magazine. What did I get? We'll find out near the end of the show. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. There were 24 Marvel comics this week. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 DC comics. Wow. I had a lot of funny books this week. That's 12, 24, that's 36. And then a couple more. And that aren't DC or Marvel that I ended up getting. We'll find out all this and more on the Comics Coffee Table weekly review show. Yes! I'm enthused. I'm pretty spry for an old man. Yeah, so it's my birthday. And sometimes I get the birthday blues. I'm usually really good at getting that. But I had something that helped me out with that. Gratitude. Making a gratitude list. I started doing that a couple of years ago. So the birthday blues have kind of abated because of that, I guess. And I'm looking at these comics and I'm like, oh, wow, you barely read like half of these. You got to go back and read some of these. So let's do that real quick. Alrighty. Well, let's just go down the list then. Dawn of DC, Batman and Robin, number 3 by Joshua Williamson and Simone DeMeo. It's a pretty mess. It's kinetic. It's super fun. It's flashy. I think this would probably, hopefully, sell well to younger people. Maybe. I don't know. In that DC compact format. I'm hoping, I have hope for that, especially with a few of these newer titles. You don't have to rehash and resell Watchmen like in a Tonkabon format or a Hush. I mean, these are the ones that should be going, but a lot of modern purple, a lot in digital, and I'm glad I have my finger on the pulse of it. But overall, I'm glad I'm not spending time, money, or box space on it. We got Danger Street number 11 of 12 by Tom King. It's Tom King doing what he does best, pulling the wings and legs off of bugs, C and Z listers, and we watch them suffer. That's what he's good at, and people like this, and it's DC Black Label, and it's supposed to be that way. So, way to go, Tom King. There you wear the crown of torturing imaginary people. Detective Comics 1077 by Ram V, and really good stuff. Slow burn, Gotham Nocturne. But it's a really well written characters. My favorite Selena Kyle, visually and dialogue wise, in a long time. I mean, if you need a Batman title to pay attention to, it's got to be Tech, and it's really good. Tech's gone bi-weekly for a little while because Ram V's got this huge arc, and he's a slow burner, and welcome to it. It's moody, and it's got a good backup feature too, with Cheshire, Jade Wen. She's a former. She's a bad. She's an anti-hero or maybe an anti-villain. I don't know at this point. But she's been. She was a Teen Titans villainess, and romantically linked with Speedy, Roy Harper, Arsenal. They had a daughter, Leanne, who's been dead and alive, in and out of continuity. And now Leanne is, I don't know how she's a preteen or a young teenager, but it is what it is. But it's all right, So there's a backup feature with that, with a mother and child reunion and a Solomon Grundy. Green Lantern number 5 by Jeremy Adams. It's fun. It's okay. It's safe. It's harmless. It's the worst thing I could say about a superhero comic. And I buy it just to buy it. I mean, it's kind of, it's fine. It's great. It's just a little pointless and boring at this point. I mean, but it helps me keep skin in the game by buying comic books. We'll get to that a little later at the end of the show. Got Outsiders number 1, which is taking a new spin on an old. It's taking a new spin with an old bike. It's landing in Kelly, and it's modern purple, and it's modern digital, and there's a gender swap. Yay, gender swaps. The most authentic and real way to make this the precious representation of diversity and equality. So it's a DC Universe rehash of Wildstorm's Planetary, the archaeologists of superhero myth and lore. But instead of Jaquita, we've got Kate Kane, Batwoman. Instead of Elijah Snow, we've got Jace Fox. And instead of the drummer, we have the drummer, who's now a woman. It was okay. A lot of blah blah. And there was Speed Force number 1, which is showcasing a couple of members of the Flash family, Wallace West, the new Kid Flash, and Avery Ho, the Flash of China, the Purple Flash. So she's been around since 2016, and Yeah, she's the Purple Flash, yay! And it's a lot of digital stuff, and it's a lot of, you know, digital art, modern purple, and I should be like, you know, head over heels into something like this, but I'm not. There's Superman Lost, 8 out of 10. The continuing adventures of Superman coming home after a very long trip through space. He ends up in some kind of black hole, which, from his perspective, he's only spent, you know, maybe a short amount of time. But when he gets back, a lot of time on Earth has passed. So it's non-canonical. Yeah, it's kind of Elseworldsy. It's okay, you know. Here's one that's really surprised me. My friend Jim from Weird Science turned me on to this. It's Superman versus Meishi. It's an actual manga, tankobon manga of Superman and food. I'm a chef. I love food, and this is Superman, and it's a black and white manga. You know, screen. You know, Zipatone dots, Bende dots. It's called screen tone. You know, it's a rub off dots that you put on for shading, and it's huge in manga. It's like one of the conventions of the genre, and it's really fun. At first, I had no idea. Like, what the are you trying to get me to read, man? But over a few issues, I'm in, and I'm like, this is cute. It's fun. It's got energy, and it's got joie de vivre, and it's Superman just loving like Asian food. And this issue is the last issue of it, and he's in competition with Lex Luthor, who's also he's got like an Insta. It's called the Pixagram. You know, the fake. You know, the imaginary comic book world. You know, apps, and he's like Superman takes pictures of his food, and but that's his online thing is Meishi, and let's see what that means. What does Meishi translate to? Well, let's figure this out. What does Meishi translate? Mesh? Let's try Japanese. Food. Oh, okay. Yeah. Superman versus food. And so, so yeah, and it's so it is Superman versus food. And so he's got this Pixagram account called Super Meishi, and where Superman takes pictures of all of his food. And then there's Lex Luthor taking pictures of his food. So now he's in like he's in this hashtag battle with his nemesis over who has the sexiest food porn. It's pretty good. There's the Vigil number 6 by Ram V. This is really good, actually. It's a brand new superhero team set in India, where Ram V is from. And I figured it out here because there was a reveal in the 6th issue that one of the heroes are actually twins. So iconically, archetypically, this team literally follows the Pandavas of the Bhagavad Gita. You have the twins, you have the big guy, you have the leader, you have the most heroic, and it really works. It's pretty good art, pretty good story. It'll be good to go back and fill in the issues I haven't got. I got issue number 1 as a key, why not? And but I've been impressed with it. Ram V is really impressing me with tech, the Vigil, and his independent rare flavors. So I'm in on Ram V. He's got the goods. And there's Robert Venditti's Wesley Dodd's The Sandman, which is part of the new golden age of DC Comics. It's set in the golden age in 1940. And it's got interesting art by Riley Rossmo, who gets a lot of crap for his art. But Riley Rossmo's style is a good fit for this magazine. It's very dreamy, very surreal. a little absurd in places, like dreams really are. I was sleeping last night too, and having very vivid dreams. I had vivid dreams. I can sleep. I can fall asleep and start dreaming right away, you know? And I was lucky enough not to get up and pee all night as an old man. And I slept soundly all night long. And I realized the stories. Dreams are stories. Dreams are the best form of escapism we have. It's restful, it's fit. Sometimes they're a little harried, but still, it's like you have a dream. You already kind of know the backstory. You know where everything is, even if everything's different. And it's weird, but dreams are the original movies and, the original stories of escapism. And so Sandman, it's all the digital stuff that they throw on top of the Riley Rossmo art, especially this hatching effect. And it's just hatchings and cross hatchings are lines drawn to give shading, gravity, and depth and form and shadow. And but here there's a filter used, and so it's just very obvious that it's too linear, it's too straight, it's so all this modern purple and all these modern effects. Once again, there's Wildcats 12 of 12 by Matthew Rosenberg. It's a hot mess. It's like you took all of these action figures, you took all these Wildstorm action figures and all these DC Comics action figures, and you put them in the same box and just shook it up, and that's that. And I like Wildcats. Wildcats has been around for 30 years. It was originally an Image Comics title, and it's gone through a few different permutations over a while, and now there's a Wildcat. It's just that there's too many superheroes in the DC universe in a way. It's like I feel that Wildcats and Wildstorm itself worked best when it was on its own Earth. Wildstorm used to have its own Earth too. It really did. Where is he? Jim Lee made Wildcats. Because when Jim Lee sold Wildstorm to DC in 1998, that's what Jim Lee became like this fixture at DC Comics. And by doing that, by kind of like jumping ship from he was a Marvel man, and then he was the Image man, and then he sold his company to DC Comics and Warner. But yeah, Wildcats' first appearance was in August of 1992. Wildcats #1, created by Jim Lee and Brandon Choi. So it's got Wildcats elements, and it's got Gen 13 elements, and it's okay. It's just the art. Once again, the art is the art. It's modern purple, modern effects, and that's that. And we have World's Finest Teen Titans, issue 5, and I don't know if this is 6 issues or 12 issues, but it's set. The World's Finest comic by Mark Waid and Dan Mora is really good, and so it's set in a mythic, say like a mythic 10 years ago or so. I'm not quite too sure, how far in the past it's set. You can only do that by having you gotta know how old the heroes are now in modern continuity, especially looking at something like Titans by Tom Taylor. And so it's got to be less than a decade, and it's kind of reformatting and retelling the age of those old Nick Cardy, leading into the Wolfman Perez new Teen Titans of the mid 70s to the late 1970s. And it's great. I mean, it's really good, but it's harmless. There's no tension. There's no stakes. There's, you know what I mean? But it's really nice to look at. And this title again, I'm serious. Like lots of these, like the Vigil would be great. Like this, World's Finest Teen Titans, Batman and Robin, Fire and Ice, Blue Beetle. You know, there are, you know, for that compact tankobon format. I'm all for it. Those are the DC Comics this week. Da, da. That's right. And thank you so much for tuning in. Sundays are usually like our magazine format days. Like on Sundays, you would have like on FM rock radio, you would have like the magazine type shows, which like your regular DJs have the day off, and you have like other voices and curated programming, and it would be just like so. And then on Sunday, the Sunday newspaper as well would have extra editions because it's traditionally the day off, and you have extra time to do extra things. Wow, let's get through these Marvel Comics. Uncanny Avengers #4 by Jerry Duggan. It's okay. We have our reveal of Captain Krakoa. It's not who I thought it was. That's fine. But it's okay because Jerry Duggan writes a really good Deadpool. The Uncanny Avengers, they call it the Unity Team, that between the Avengers and the X-Men, where, you know, so it's a mashup team. And it's all, you have to have the knowledge of knowing what Fall of X is, what Orcus is, what's going on. So there's definitely like a group of the X titles, you know, that they're all they all interplay and in their own continuity, you know, and occasionally you have things like over at Spider-Man, you know, you have a little overlap because you had, you know, Dark Web, which involved Madeline Pryor, the Goblin Queen, Limbo, Hell, Chasm, and because they all share New York City as well. I don't see any elements of this over on Daredevil, but all the X titles are just definitely, it's like, it's Orcus, and Orcus has Sentinels, and it appears that the Days of Future Past is happening all over again. And this is how, you know, will it get there? Hopefully, you know, of course it won't, but it just, and then I saw some preview art coming from like Kieran Gillen on Twitter, or X, and yeah, X. The and it's like set 10 years in the future, and just the Earth's destroyed, and it's, I hope there are still apples. I'm a little tired of seeing the Earth destroyed. I'm really thinking, what are the X-Men going to do? How far can you go? Can you even scale? Sorry. It's my birthday. I can do whatever I want. Can you even scale that back at this point and be like, how can we tell more grounded, quote unquote, normal superhero stuff? Because it's always the highest of stakes. It's always the biggest thing, and it's, which is good because it's spectacle, and it's and at least it's a little interesting too. But for the most part, it's like, how are you gonna top this by it's, see, I'm one of those ones that, you know, modern X-Men people kind of hate me because it's like, I want to go back to the mansion, I want to reboot. See, this is my thing. How would I fix the X-Men and the Age of Krakoa? It's easy. Something called the Siege Perilous, and it's a portal which you go through and you're reborn, and you could be given new powers, maybe even a new memories or new identity, a new body or whatnot. It's a little confusing, but geez, it's superhero stuff. It's just all imaginary. And it all adds up. And the X-Men recently have had unlimited extra lives with the resurrection protocols. And with the end of the Krakoan age, it's going to come to the end of the infinite extra lives. How to bring everyone back and reset everything to a more typical thing. To save everyone, everyone should go through the Siege Perilous. And then we wake up. We're on Greymalkin Lane. We're at the Institute, the Xavier Institute for gifted youngsters. And everyone wakes up in some kind of idealized age and place. Make Kitty 13 again. Make Ilyana 8 again. Make them all younger again. The only one who really knows something would be Charles and Logan. Bring back the Danger Room. Bring back the Blackbird, the jet. This is what happens. The X-Men outgrow the mansion and come back to it. And they outgrow it and they come back to it. It happens over and over again over the past 40 years that I've been an X-Men fan, because I'm an old man now. And I'm ready to go back to the mansion. I'm ready to have some uniforms, just some classic X-Men uniforms, and just clean the slate, and let's just start telling new stories again. That's it, And hey, the Krakoan age has been audacious. It's been all over the place. It's been inclusive and representative. But that's fine, great. But it's also, there's been a lot of mediocrity as well. And I've only recently gotten back into having my finger truly on the pulse of the X titles with the pirate treasure chests. And it's all been pretty much since the last Hellfire Gala. And just walk into it and be like, oh boy, look, everything's gone to heck. Okay. That's fine, And let's do this. Superior Spider-Man #1 by Dan Fewslot. Hey, you're #1, asshole. You are #1, you cheese-eating mother... Sorry. Am I angry? No. It's my birthday. It's a hot mess. And I love the Superior Spider-Man outfit. I really do. And it's, sorry, I'm just checking something here. Ooh. And, yeah, it's just, I love Otto Octavius's Spider-Man. What is the Superior Spider-Man? Well, when did Superior Spider-Man come out? Let's get an age for this. Superior Spider-Man. Okay, it was a decade ago. Ran between January of 2013 and September of 2014. And when Dan Slott was writing ASM, Amazing Spider-Man, a decade ago, I was kind of tuned into it. I liked his stuff, especially with Humberto Ramos on art. Let's read this from the wiki. The series continues from the events of the 2012 storyline Dying Wish, in which Peter Parker is killed off and replaced with his nemesis, Otto Octavius, who swaps consciousness with Parker and left him to die in his decaying body to ensure his own survival. However, Octavius becomes inspired by Parker's dying wish to have a new Spider-Man protect New York City and decides to take the mantle himself, becoming the self-proclaimed Superior Spider-Man. And this series is a continuation of the long-running series, The Amazing Spider-Man, which concluded at ASM 700. And yeah, and that ran for a year. And it was okay. Yeah, I mean, it was, a lot of people diss it. I just think I think it was an interesting place to take the character. Like, what do you do after all these years? Like, do we, I thought it was interesting, especially because, a spider has 8 legs and an octopus has 8 legs. And so Otto's spider suit had 4 mechanical spider-like, robotic arms as well. It was really cool, and I like the asymmetrical webbing and the dark lenses on the eyepieces. And I'm a sucker for a really cool looking Spider-Man alternate outfit. I really like it. Next, we have 4 Marvel Star Wars comic books. Let's start with Dr. Aphra, written by you, Alyssa Wong. It's just modern purple, modern blah blah blah. It's hey, I love women, and it's by women for women, and women are Star Wars fans too, and this is theirs. Sure, it's not made for me. Star Wars Dark Droids, the core title itself, by Charles Soule, $4.99 for about 22 pages. Like I said, that's going to be the going price any second now. And yeah, I read it. Like I said, I've read all of these Dark Droids Star Wars comic books. I cannot tell you what's going on. It's a jumble. I would have to go back and be like, there's some kind of dark energy force that's infecting droids, and it's going specifically after humanoids with cybernetic enhancement, like Lobot or even Darth Vader, and yeah, it will resolve, and yeah, and all of this stuff happens between Empire and Jedi. Canonically, I think Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. There's Star Wars: The Mandalorian Season 2, issue number 6. Once again, I don't watch D+. I'm not going to. They don't care about money. They don't care. They care about how many subscribers they have, and they care about metrics, meaning clicks and view times and view hours, kind of like what we, the YouTubers, care about. It's the same. They care about what I care about. I care about views, and I care about view hours. Well, as a YouTube creator, trying to get monetized, of which we quite well could be early next year. Thank you. And that's all because of you guys, and with the help of Pikachu and my production team here from our Boston studios down the street from the corner. But Star Wars Mando Season 2, Issue 6. This one is chronicling the return of Boba Fett and Fennec Shand, and which is great because it's like we have so many instances now of people taking a lightsaber to their abdomen or the thorax or the chest and surviving. Qui-Gon Jinn did not. Fennec Shand got hit by a blaster bolt, in the gut, and she was presumed dead. And she comes back, and Mando's like, "Hey, you're still alive." She pulls up her shirt, and she's got cybernetics. And so there's something about that, like Saw Gerrera of Rogue One. Like, you slowly lose your humanity as a cost of war. Like, look at Anakin Skywalker. He lost an arm, and then he lost the rest of his humanity along with his, on Mustafar. He lost more than his legs and his other arm. He lost also, he got his penis and scrotum burnt off. You know that, right? That's subtext. It's there. He lost his manhood on Mustafar. He got burnt off when his legs went on fire and his back. Use your imagination. That's what happened, right? And it's one thing that was beyond disappointments, all the disappointments that add up about the sequel trilogy is that in Force Awakens, Kylo Ren was shot with Chewie's bowcaster right around here. When he's chasing Rey and Finn at the climax battle, you can see him being like, he's using the Force to try to keep his organs in and staunch the bleed. He's bleeding out, too. And he took a lightsaber through the face as well. So he's got this hideous scar. But, he didn't follow theme with the other Skywalkers, like losing a hand, losing an arm, and having a cybernetic replacement, or even having, they just brushed over that by Last Jedi. There's some, which picks up literally minutes later after the first film. Like, when did he have time to heal? Who cares? They're lousy anyway. But, and notice there's no focus on that sequel era with the TV shows and the comic books. Proof of the pudding's on the plate. And this was a surprise to me. I didn't even see this in the solicitations. It would have caught my eye because I'm a huge fan of the creator, Peach Momoko. It's a pseudonym. I don't know who she is, how old she is, where she's from, what she's up to, who she's voting for, and who she sleeps with. It's none of my fucking business, and it's great. Peach Momoko is a pseudonym for the artist, and she's from Japan, and she makes really interesting, bizarre, exciting art. And this is called Star Wars Visions. Star Wars Visions #1. Star Wars Visions was an animated show that came out. Star Wars Visions is an animated anthology series created for Disney Plus, and it's set in the Star Wars universe. Each episode being self-contained, and their anime style. There's 2 seasons, 18 episodes. And something I should go back and check out. See, I am a huge Star Wars fan. I want to like Star Wars and new Star Wars. I don't want to be the quintessential disgruntled fandom menace asshole fan. And I mean that nicely, too. To all the other assholes out there. I am an asshole. It's taken me half a century to reconcile that. No, I'm just kidding. I kind of am, Hey, you can pretend you ain't got one on the bottom of you. And that's what Frank Zappa said. But it's something I would like to, check out. I mean, it's like this fully international production team. But these things don't get released on digital. These things don't get released on disc. I hope they do. I would pick that up. I would pick it up used if I had any, if I could. So my money's not, really going to Star Wars or Disney or Lucasfilm, especially after the whole Gina Carano thing, which is really unfortunate, I mean, it didn't have to happen that way. But this is a comic book kind of, it's not an adaptation of this. It's manga style kind of, but not because Peach Momoko has her own style. Hold the phone. Let's put a pin in that, and we'll get there. Because I just don't want to oh, you're supposed to be one of us. You're not supposed to be spending your money on Star Wars. I've only spent a couple of things on Star Wars since the Grand Schism. Ever since Gina Carano, Star Wars Squadrons was a video game. A couple of issues of Star Wars Darth Vader, Black, White, and Red. Because Peach Momoko had one in there, and the other one had Klaus Janson. And the other one, and actually, one had Klaus Janson and Peach Momoko. The other one had Daniel Warren Johnson. Wow, good stuff. And I also bought that Han and Frozen in Carbonite a few years ago, too. So, but that's like I said, I'm a Star Wars fan. I want to enjoy Star Wars. It's not that I have some kind of allegiance to maintain that prevents me from liking Star Wars. It's more of it's just, it just ain't what it used to be. But yeah, so there is the Sinister, there's the Spine-Tingling Spider-Man, issue #2. It's parental advisory on the cover. 23 pages, $3.99. Solomon Ahmed. And it's a horror comic, so it's supposed to be that way. It's really gruesome. A lot of grotesque. Horrifying imagery. But it's okay. It's like Peter Parker stuck in an alternate horror nightmare universe without his powers. And so it's like a big haunted house. And Peter's got to figure it out. The Silver Surfer Rebirth, number 3, written by Ron Mars, with art by Ron Lim and Don Ho. Beautiful art. Very classic. This is a very good classic kind of story, superhero comic book. Never been a big Silver Surfer fan, or like Warlock too. I mean, this comes from Warlock Legacy Rebirth, is the same team, but the art is impeccable. I mean, it's pencils, inks, good pacing, proper panels. You know, it's something that I'm used to, and I'm very thankful for that. The last issue of Red Goblin, number 10. That happened. It was all right. No, some people who watch the show read this book, and they're pleased with it, and good, because it's, these books are not made to be like trashed by us finicky fans. They're made to be like read and to be enjoyed, and it's and hopefully they are. And this, this was a miss for me, I guess. But I read a bunch of them. It's over, and that's that. It's Normie Osborn, the grandson of the Green Goblin. He's got his own symbiote called Rascal. He was a gift from Venom, and his best friend, Dylan, who his father is the real Venom, Eddie Brock, Dylan Brock. Took a second. Sorry, old man, senior moment. Jean Grey, number 4 of 4 by Wheezy Simonson. Didn't work for me. I thought this issue would have at least made the first 3 issues made sense. It's all Fall of X stuff, like I was saying. You got to be really tuned in to Fall of X and to what's going on. And it's just this hodgepodge of different versions of Jean over the years, talking to herself between lives. She may be in the White Hot Room, which is a Phoenix thing. It's like where the best genie, the Jean Grey who wears the white Phoenix outfit. That's where like she sits outside time. Something like that. I mean, and it was a jumble, kind of confusing. I know Dwayne Muth likes it, so I'm not going to diss it. I'm not dissing it. And I wanted to like it because Wheezy Simonson wrote it. Louise Simonson, once Louise Jones, she was the editor of Uncanny X-Men for the first half of the 1980s and then went on to write X-Factor. She knows her X-Men. She can write a really good Jean Grey. But overall, it fell apart for me. Immortal Thor, number 4. Was it 22 pages of art and story? $4.99. There we go. It's Legacy, issue number 765. And it's got a beautiful Alex Ross cover, who also did the cover for Fantastic Four, number 13. So I hope these are selling like hotcakes. Mm-hmm. But it's Thor getting some help. He's fighting like a negative version of himself. But there's lots of modern purple and lots of, modern effects. But he gets Storm on his side. And he gives Storm back her Asgardian outfit. I think that was famous from, hold on a second. Let me get that annual. Let me see if this looks the same. Pika, you didn't let the camera run, did you? No, everyone didn't see my big butt, my big old man butt. So harkening back all the way to the giant-sized annual of 1985, the saga of Storm, the goddess of thunder here in Asgard. We are brought back to this Storm. So, Thor Odinson, he needs some help fighting, this anti-Thor from a different universe. So he gets Storm's help, Beta Ray Bill. Too bad Eric Masterson's not in here somewhere. And yeah, it's Turanos, the first of all Thunderers. And so Thor passes Mjolnir around and shares the power of Thor with as many worthy people as possible. Jane Foster's Valkyrie now, and he gives her the hammer too, so she's back as Thor, and everyone has a little bit of the Thor power. Loki as well, and so it's Thor Odinson bringing back the Thor core for a little while. It's all right. It's it's perfect. Why not? Ghost Rider number 20. It's it's horror. It's gruesome. It's Legacy number 263. $4.99, 31 pages, and written by Benjamin Percy, art by Carlos Nito. And then there's a backup feature by Stephen Paul Judd with art by Sean Bayali, which is pretty darn good too. So, I mean, this is a really, it's really good. I mean, it's not great, but I love the backup feature. It's just so, I love the art, and it's okay. Yeah. I mean, are you reading Ghost Rider? Did you like it? Fantastic Four number 13, Legacy number 706. Amazing Alex Ross cover. And it's Dr. Doom writing a dinosaur Dr. Doom. There's an alternate universe out there where all the Marvel people are dinosaurs. And so it's a Dr. Doom team up. And a lot of it has to do with Ben Grimm meeting his dinosaur version. And they had, this goes back a couple of issues as well. So it's fun. It's fine. Ryan North's writing it, and it's all good. There is Deadpool 7 Slaughters, 73 pages for $9.99. It's an anthology of 7 different Deadpool stories. The thing is, we've got a Rob Liefeld story in here, which is really fun, and then we also have one that's drawn by Will Sportica. So overall, this is a really a lot of bang for your buck here. Pound for pound, probably a big value. Marvel's been trying to sell like thicker comics with a bigger price tag, but I don't know. Is it going to sell? Does this stuff sell? The expensive stuff? I don't know. Daredevil issue number 3, Legacy number 665. Like I said, opening in next month's issue number 4, Legacy 666, has some kind of demonic hollow foil thing. Solomon Ahmed, Aaron Cooter, and Farid Karami on pencils, Cam Smith and Farad Karami on inkers, and it's Daredevil in Hell's Kitchen, beating people up and dealing with his double life and his new status quo, as Father Matt Murdock, and who is trying to keep the orphanage open. Hey, come on, we have to have a benefit to save the kids' rec center. You know what I mean? Something like that. It's a story as old as time itself. We've got Dark X-Men number 4, written by Stephen Fox, which is okay. It's, like I said, it's Dark Web meets Fall of X, and it's Madeline Pryor's The Goblin Queen's X-Men team, and she's with Alex Summers, Havoc, and Remy LeBeau, Gambit's on the team, Azazel, who is a demon teleporter, who is Nightcrawler's father, is part of the team, and so it's a team of misfits, and it's all waiting to just go fall apart and end badly. Yeah. So it's Madeline Pryor, Havoc, Faint, Emplate, Azazel, Gambit, and Zero/Albert, who is this? I have no idea who that person is. And then there's also a Goblin Queen from a different dimension. Yeah. So it's a hot mess. It's my least favorite issue of the 4 I've read so far. But Dark X-Men has been, for me as an X-Men fan all my life, pretty interesting to keep my eye on. Speaking of X-Men titles, we got Children of the Vault number 4 of 4. This ends. It's our buddy team of, and I say that with all sense of humor. It's Bishop and Cable. They don't like each other. No, but they're both time travelers from a future, you know. And yeah, that's that. I mean, that's over. I mean, Children of the Vault were never my big thing, and yeah, there. So what? There's Carnage number 1, brings back Cletus Cassidy. $5.99, 33 pages. Torrin Gronbeck writes it, and it's just over the top, bloody gore, mess stuff. Parental advisory. It's Carnage. Carnage is a symbiote that came from Venom that attached itself to a serial killer in prison, Cletus Cassidy. So Carnage is like a really over the top bad guy, and a golem too, a negation of the negation, something like a real wild card. The negation of the negation is something I learned about with Robert McKee's screenwriting book called Story. I've read this book over and over again. It's really good if you want to get your head around act structure and archetypical storytelling modes. And it tells you to learn your trade before you try to break, before you try to break and subvert expectations. Master the existing expectations. And that's a really good way to put it. But there are heroes, there are villains, and then there's something in the middle called the negation of the negation. A true wild card. Someone that plays for their own team, their own rules, their own motivation. You have to think Gollum from Lord of the Rings. An agent of chaos, but also who will align themselves with good if it serves their purpose. We have Cap Wolf and the Howling Commandos issue 2 by Stephanie Phillips. I did not buy this. I read it, but it's set in World War II. It's Allies versus Yazis. And the Yazis have figured out a way to make super troopers into werewolves. And Cap got bitten by one. And so now Cap is a werewolf, he can barely control his own mind thanks to the super serum. And the first issue was good. I mean, and I'm glad I checked it out and I bought it. But I passed on issue 2. And let's see, Black Panther number 6, modern purple and digital. And for someone who's been reading this for a couple of issues now, I'm so lost. I have no clue what's going on, and it stopped being fun and enjoyable. And I've been all about saying, hey, check out Black Panther by Eve Ewing. It might impress you. My tune has changed. I don't know. Blade number 5, same kind of thing. It was fun for a couple of issues. Now it's kind of like, okay, sure. I mean, it's $3.99, 23 pages, issue number 5, and it's just Blade, and blood, and vampires, and hell. Parental advisory. Astonishing X-Men number 4, continuing the Fall of X. See these, and you got to look for the Fall of X trade dress on the title, on the page. This goes back to it harkens back to an early 1980s cartoon, Saturday morning cartoon, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Iceman and Firestar. And so it's Astonishing Iceman, issue number 4, where he's getting down in it, fighting the Orcus people and their hounds. Orcus is using hounds. They're using some techno-organic virus to enslave mutant heroes to do their bidding, like Cloak and Dagger and others, and Feral. And so we have a team up. We have a Marvel team up. Yeah, Spider-Man helps out one of his oldest friends here. And I get one of my favorite parts of any kind of Spider-Man is sometimes the non-action scenes when they're sitting on top of a building top, just having something to eat. Now, a lot of people just bash like, oh, it's just heroes, endless conversation over food. And it's a lot to do with, if you keep those story beats down to a bare minimum, they're pretty, I like them. And so there's this just nice moments between Bobby and Peter on a rooftop having something to eat over bagels, New York bagels. I appreciate that because I used to, joke and say I haven't had a bagel since 2014 because that's the last time I was in Manhattan. And, and West 72nd Bagels is closed since then. Oh, wow, what great. My mouth's watering just thinking about them. Something about the bagels in New York City, and anything else is just round bread. And so it was cute, but it's just all this Fall of X, Orcus, Overstory, and that's that. Not made for me. Only 2 more to go. We got Alpha Flight issue number 4. More Fall of X. This is, I think, wrapping up in one more issue. I think. It's just, to be concluded. Yeah. It's only going 5 issues. It's Canada's Mutant X-Men. It's like Alpha Flight is kind of like Canada's X-Men team. They're mutants. They're pretending to be working with Orcus, only to be trying to subvert them from within and protect young mutants. Written by Ed Brisson, and it's okay. I like the first couple of issues more. Maybe it lost some steam. Maybe I'm losing steam. Maybe I'm getting old. And then there's Alien, issue number 1 by Declan Shalvey, which is interesting. This is 34 pages, $5.99. And it's interesting. This is a new issue number 1, but it's picking off from Declan Shalvey's last Alien series, which went 6 issues and an annual. So it's just the issue 1 thing all over again. I wish I had a legacy number, but it's been the most entertaining Alien book by Shalvey I've read so far. Parental advisory, $5.99, 34 pages. And that, my friends, are all the Marvel comic books. Gosh, there's a lot of funny books. You read a lot of funny books. What's in the bag? What's in the bag? What's in the bag, Pikachu? What'd you buy me this week? This is my birthday present? You got me comic books for my birthday? Oh, thank you, Pikachu. Canadian Bear helped? He did? And Drinka? Well, he's on his break. Don't leave him alone. What's in the bag? Let's find out. What did we buy at the comic book shop? I'll get the song in my head. No Marvel comics, but I got 1 DC comic. Actually, 1 Marvel comic. I lied. Let's do those first. Let's sort this by. How are we sorting this? Okay. As advertised, we got Green Lantern number 5 by Jeremy Adams, art by Charbanico. However that is. Look, hey, Aquaman's still coming out. December the 20th. Are you ready for Beast World? Are you ready? I don't care. But, like, this is... I like Jeremy Adams. I like his storytelling. I like this Flash a lot. And I'm so just not into this backup feature, though. I mean, Peter Tomasi's really good usually. And I'm a little lost on it. I just a little not into it. Every issue from DC has some preview pages from Jason Aaron's first DC story. It's Batman Off-World, but delicious looking art by Doug Mahnke. And so we got pencils and inks, which is really good. I like Doug Mahnke's art a lot. As Batman finds himself in space, which is cool. I guess. Let's look at some ads. Hey, look. House ad. House ad. No, Sully, you're not going to find any snack foods or any video game ads. Big ass splash pages. No, that's not a splash page. That's because it's got panels. But it's okay. I'm gonna stick with it. But yeah, like I said, there's just no tension, no stakes. It's safe as milk, dude. And I think that's the worst thing you can say about a comic book. We got Junior Baker, the Righteous Faker, by Joe Casey and Ryan Quackenbush on Image Comics. This is really good comic. This is a comic book for me personally. This is a lot like visually and story wise. This is a lot like the late 80s, early 90s Vertigo stuff. And I'm really impressed with this. I really like it. I like the colors. I like the art. I like how everything doesn't not have to turn into modern purple. It's, you know what I mean? We have a nigh infinite color palette and everything has to be purple because, someone from grad school said this is the trend. And I'm just like, I'm done with modern purple. And I just want but just this art is just so delicious. It's really confounding, kind of tough to not tough to get into. I just have to sit back and read them all again. And this is actually a sequel to something else too. Butcher Baker, the Righteous Maker, which I never read. So I'm kind of oblivious to this whole history of it. But that's a good thing about comic books. It's all new if you haven't read it yet. And you're not spoiled. Ain't that cool? I love comic books. I hope you do too. But this for me, $4.99. Really good. Go to your comic book shop and get it today. Ask for it by name. As I told you, $6.99 or $5.99. Now I totally have the Spider-Man and Amazing Friends theme stuck in my head right now. Pour yourself a cuppa. Have one. Pull up a chair. Grab a cuppa. Whatever it is you're shoving under your nose today. Pal. Happy Sunday. Happy birthday, Sully. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate all the birthday wishes. Thank you. Here's to another trip around the sun. This is 33 pages long. $5.99. There's no dialogue in this book. Here's your primer page. We have Keiko, a descendant of Sith commander, has hatred through to Enoch. What is Enoch? Generations after the death of a great Sith Lord, the dark side has become shrouded in legend. In its absence, the cult of Enoch rose to prominence with the promise of ending people's suffering. So there's Jel, an android and Keiko's partner. There's Popo, a girl who lives in the city and works at the shop. She is bored of everyday life. And there's Tata, who is a Nox messenger. Art, story, and cover by Peach Momoko. And here is the preview for the next issue, coming next year. Takashi Okazaki. This looks interesting. This looks really interesting, huh? I see, I'm into that, you know? Launch into an epic journey of Lego. Why does Luke have a gold lightsaber? See, that's new continuity stuff. That's Disney continuity, Disney Marvel continuity. It's actually one of the, you'd know the yellow lightsaber from the, from Clone Wars. Who has the yellow lightsaber? I don't, let's see. They're called, they were like, they had the masks on it. Hold on one second. Let me find this. They were called the Jedi Temple Guards. They wield yellow lightsabers while performing their duty as protectors of the Jedi Temple. These masked guards, considered part of the current canon, can be seen in Star Wars, The Clone Wars, the TV show. And apparently Luke got his crystal for his lightsaber between Empire and Return of the Jedi. So this is new canon. This is dis canon. And that's funny because Disney, and then you have the Greek prefix D-I-S, D-Y-S, meaning like as in dysfunctional or disinformation. You know what I mean? The dis prefix. Dis is a prefix added to the beginning of a base word that means not or opposite of. And it can be attached to verbs to show the undoing of an action, such as disassemble. But there is just beautiful art in here. Like I said, no dialogue. It's just wacky, kooky, kind of really beguiling, interesting, exciting. I mean, Peach Momoko's art does this to me. I love Peach Momoko's art. It's just like this, and I don't care if it makes any sense. I mean, is that an actual monster? Is that like this a metaphor for the dark side of is this an allegory for the power of an evil YouTuber trying to fill you with, you know, bad fandom? I don't. But it goes on like this. But it's, But welcome to the wonderful, wacky, wild world of Peach Momoko. I'm here for it because I love her art. I can't get enough of this. Yep, and that's all there is to it. I mean, yeah. It's kind of simple, and it's, you know what I mean? And it's okay. Here we go. Yeah. Here's one I've been waiting for. G.I. Joe number 301 on Skybound Image, written by Larry Hama. And this picks off where the IDW continuity leaves off, I guess. I wasn't tuned into that. I read this as a kid. And this is the same writer from 40 years ago. What a blessing, huh? And nice Andy Kubrick cover. This is great. But it's easy to get into, and it just, here. A dramatis personae. Who's who and what's what? Why are there 3 snake eyes? Exactly. Snake Eyes has a legion. But it's pretty good. I enjoy it. I'll be here for the next issue too. Hello. Drinka? Focus, please. Literally. This, the oversized reprint of The Last Ronin, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin, written by Eastman and Laird. I remember being in high school buying Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know, I was there for the Image Day, for the Mirage days, and I'm really happy to be able to catch up with this. I missed this the first time around, so and it's a little oversized too. So, you know, here, spoilers. Here's some spoilers. Look away. Close your ears. It's the death of my favorite Ninja Turtle. It's the death of Raphael. You know, I know he gets stabbed, but also he's amphibious. He shouldn't drown. It's many years later, and there's only one Ninja Turtle left. One of the brothers of the four remain. He is the last Ronin. And what happens? He goes after the last of the Oroku clan. He plans on avenging his father and brothers, with a little help from his friends, and turning this evil world back into light. I'm here for it. I'm liking that so far. I wonder if there's a new one next week, because issue 1 was last week. Issue 2 is this week. You know, it's been done for a long time. All they got to do is print up a new copy and send it out every week. And this, pick of the week. Big Game, 5 of 5, Mark Miller, Pepe Larraz, extra thick. Let's see real quick. Big Game, number 5. 56 pages, $7.99. Worth every penny. It's a great culmination to Mark Miller's crossover of his own titles, of his own universe. Here he's got a map of a reading order so you can enjoy Big Game. Here it goes. All of these titles, all of his stuff just comes in together. And it's over the top. It's fun. And it really is what a superhero comic book should be. And it's done. And there's just no, it's I don't know. I'm really satisfied with this. He's a really good writer, and I'm very happy to be part of this. And like, bravo, Mark. Well done. Bravo, Pepe. Everyone. And at the end of every issue, too, Mark publishes a one-page comic from his eldest daughter. I like that because, you know, this is a family. You know, Miller World is a family-run operation. I like that. The CEO, that's his wife. We all know that the wife's the boss, right? But this is really, really, the art in this is just fabulous. What's going to happen to Nemesis? There are 2 more volumes of Nemesis Reloaded coming at us after this. And it's just over the top, really good, superhero fun. Do the good guys win? You should pick it up and find out. And but yeah, that's my pick of the week. Big Game by Mark Miller. And that has been our Sunday Comic New Release Review. Thank you so very much for tuning in and spending some of my birthday with me and Pika, Drinka, Canadian Bear, from everyone here at our Boston studios, down the street from the corner. Thank you. I'm blessed and grateful. We're all here talking about comic books and enjoying this. Here's my editorial. I'll finish it with a quick editorial and wrap the show up. Comic books are not dying. The light in your heart might go out. Your attention may wane. Your tastes may change. Comic books are not dying, though. The industry, the print publication industry is changing. Comics are a part of this print publication industry. Do you remember, if older viewers will remember, a few months back, we did a special on the daily newspaper and the funny pages. And I got a copy of the Boston Daily Globe. It was $3.50. Now its competition, the tabloid-style Boston Herald, is $4.50 for a daily newsprint publication of yesterday's news. And the circulation is just so is bottomed out when it comes to the print newspapers, like home deliveries and selling it at newsstands. People don't get their news through newspapers anymore. Something such as National Geographic, the brand will continue. The brand is huge. It's kind of evolved, to use the parlance of the Ivy League business school grads. Evolve and elevate the iconic brand. And that is a great example of the evolution of an iconic brand. It has outgrown its print format. National Geographic is abandoning its magazine. It doesn't make dollars, and it doesn't make sense to the publisher to continue that. And I was at my CVS, my pharmacy store, just the other day looking. I wanted to pick up a copy of Teen Vogue and Cosmopolitan and even Sports Illustrated, because you know how I am with advertisements. Advertisements are a real, big. Advertisements are the reason why print publications exist. You might think that the content is made for you and your entertainment and enjoyment, that is purely secondary to selling ad space and getting, it's about marketing, and it's about ad rates. I mean, they're rarely high. Everything's so expensive these days. But print publication is changing. Comic books are not dying, though. Comic books are changing. And everything changes. That's the nature of the cosmos. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only change shape and form. I'm also a high school graduate. What do I know? Yet, comic books are not dying. If the flame in your heart goes out, that's one thing. Ask your ex-wife or your ex-husband or your ex-partner, you know what I mean, about the flame in their heart going out. I understand. That's a personal kind of metaphor for me. Kind of like, does love exist? Well, because it doesn't exist for me, it doesn't exist at all. That's kind of fucking selfish. But I know love exists. I have love, and different kinds of love, with friends, family, and I'm not trying to get like touchy-feely, you know what I mean, or mopey either. I'm not one bit. It's just more that this is an allegory for the comic books. Just because the flame in your heart goes out for something doesn't mean it's dead. It's just changed. It's moved on without you, definitely. It might, somewhere in its heart, care for you and be like, oh, well, if you want to come along for the ride with us, you have to accept the changes. Like, if you want to see the kids, you're going to have to accept my new husband in your life. And you're going to have to accept, you know what I mean, just, that, I've moved on. It's sounds weird, but you know what I mean? It works. I can see it. And I'm pretty sure that's what comic books are doing to us. Like, you come along with us on this voyage, or you can sit around pining at your old pictures all day and being angry that I broke your heart and left you for someone else. That's on you. Or you can move on and move past it. I don't know. I don't have answers. All I have are more questions. But we're in a world full of broken hearts. And we're in this fandom full of broken hearts as well. And failed expectations, deviations of from expected norms and typical, characterizations. Your old comics will always be there for us and for you and for me. But it will go on. It will continue to thrive. Well, if there's money to be made too. But it's the print publication industry that's changing. It's not just comic books. It's newspapers. It's magazines. And I'm not too sure about books. I think books are doing okay so far. And, but yeah, that's my editorial for the Sunday magazine show. I don't think comic books are dying. I don't think comic book shops are dying. I think many won't make it. I think those shops will make it who are prepared for the upcoming change. I think those shops that are doing okay, that pay their bills and that are on top of their rent, there will always be a niche market. There will always be a boutique store. I'm hoping that your store is that store. That you're going to be the boutique store that people go to, the destination location, to get that unique artifact. I mean, record stores are still around. And I think that's a really interesting parallel to the comic books industry, to what we're going through now. We could have been going through this 20 years ago when we're switching from CDs. We went from vinyl albums to compact cassette tapes. Well, vinyl albums, reel-to-reel, 8-track cassettes, compact cassettes, to audio. To audio compact discs, to downloads, to Napster, to LimeWire, then the Apple Store. And now we have Spotify and playlists. And are people still buying music? Are people still enjoying music? Is new music being produced? Yes. I mean, look at Taylor Swift. God bless her. Hi, Taylor. Call me. It's my birthday. Travis Kelce? Who's he? I can make chocolate 20 different ways. I can. And that'll work for me one day. But I don't think comics are dying. I think comics are changing. I think comic book stores that are not well run will be the first to fall, like any business. But there will always be boutique stores. Like there is a used record store down the street from my house, and it's been around for a while. Like the store itself, it's just moved locations a few times. It's right. Albums, CDs, used albums, new albums. So vinyl is back, and that's a niche market. And people like these curations. People like these physical artifacts. They do. There is a market out there for it. When you figure out how many customers you have, I learned this in junior achievement in high school. You have a product, you make X amount of it for Y amount of people, and you'll make Z amount of profit after your expenses are covered. And, I am not a business person. I did not go to business school. I mean, I can appreciate and respect just the brass tacks basics of it, and I feel that comic book stores are going to be like that. That there will be. It is a shrinking pool. The pond is drying up. The pond is drying. It's getting smaller. Is it time to evolve and grow wings? Is it time to evolve and grow legs? And get out of and you know what I mean? I don't know. That's a metaphor. Because it's literally becoming an animal, you know. Thank you so very much for tuning in today. It's been my birthday. It's Sunday, the new release day. Thank you new release review day. Thank you so much for sticking with the show. Like and subscribe. Suggest us to a friend. Bring a friend next time too. We will see you tomorrow. And you have a good day. Thank you so very much. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. And we will see you again in those funny pages. Ciao. Bye-bye.